guys, what's up? It's me, Priscilla. So for today, we're going to jump into something. We're going to actually touch base on a concept that I actually did again. A lot of people have been asking me lately about, and they've been doing, I realized that the tutorial I made about watercolor with Galaxy, there's just been a lot of like confusion over it, and plus it's a really old video, so I thought I would go ahead and touch up on that today. If you haven't seen this before, it's just an image somebody else came up with. It's called Galaxies in a Jar. So I mean, I found it on Pinterest and everything. Now, to get started, I'm going to pretend that I don't have masking fluid, because I know a lot of you don't have masking fluid, and I also have my watercolor palette instead of my actual real watercolors, just because I know more of you have watercolor palettes as opposed to more of the tubes and everything. Basically, go around in the area. And that's the TARDIS, alright? So I'm going to... Now the thing about this is, as long as I go around my area, so I'm just going to wet this up a little bit. Now this technique is called wet on wet. It sounds weird, I know it does. So I'm just going to go around my actual lining. As long as there is no water within this area, your watercolor should not cross over into that. It's like a forbidden area. As long as there's no water on this tag, there will be no crossover of the water. So what I do is I start off like this, and I go ahead and I just fill in this whole area, and of course I'm starting off with blue, just lightly so I can see where all my water is. Now the picture doesn't have the actual galaxy going around all the way, but it's just kind of sitting in there. As long as there is water inside, like this. Prove my theory, as long as there is no water inside, it should not cross over. So if I take a little bit of a dab here, you see how it will not go over into the tag. Obviously, if you drench it, you might have a problem, but you see how the color in the water is just staying in the areas where it's actually wet. So for my first layer of colors, I just go ahead, lay out a couple of my first layers. You see how that water area is still not crossing over. And I'm gonna grab a couple more colors. So here's my nice royal blue. I just splosh it around. So essentially, this is my first layer. Now, you can either wait very patiently for this to all settle out and just dry, or there's another option. You could get a paper towel, and you can just lightly go around. Your first layer will still be there no matter what, and you can just go ahead, kind of just suck up the puddles and everything. Now, if you would have left that to dry, then it would have been a much thicker layer than what this is. Or if you're just not patient like most of us, go around and you can just do a whole nother layer. Or of course, there's also the option of a hair dryer. Now you have to be really careful with hair dryers, because sometimes they will push the water in places you don't want it to go. Maybe if you have your hair dryer on a lower setting, then that's totally up to you. But I'm going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to get my first layer back and let that go ahead and set, and maybe work on a couple of other things. If you've watched any of my tutorials on watercolor or anything, there's a lot of really good standpoints. Is one, you have to have patience to let your actual layers dry. That's number two. Layers. Watercolors is built up on layers and layers and layers and layers, okay? It just depends how thick you want your layers to be. Like, you could say, hey, this is actually good. This is a good stopping point for me. But I usually go about maybe 3 or 4 layers. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on my second layer to my Galaxy. And once again, you don't have to carry out the same color scheme that you have going on. Mix up your colors, get crazy with it. Okay, it's a Galaxy. Have fun. Alright, so I went ahead and I waited for this second layer to dry, and it's coming out pretty awesome. I like what the result I'm getting so far. So I'm just going to go in while it's still a little bit damp, and I'm just going to do another layer because layers are the best. Now this is where I want to go ahead and apply some gouache to some areas just to get some clouds in my galaxy a little bit here and there. So I'm going to put a little gouache in my palette. And this is white gouache in case any of you are wondering. You can get it from Michael's, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, any of those fun art stores. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of my gouache and just apply it to some different spots. Add water to it. That way I can get some galaxy clouds all the way up in here. Alright, now that I have some pretty cool cloud action going on in my galaxy, I'm ready for my final. I know, you guys are probably thinking, when's she gonna stop? Probably never. But I am ready for my final layer, and I'm just going to go in with some darker colors here and there, just darkening up some spots around the cloudy areas. So as you can see, I've let my dark areas dry and everything, and I'm just going to leave that right there. That's going to dry really nice. So most of it's pretty much dry. So we got this one area and everything, and down here too. So that's when I'm going to go ahead and grab my white gouache. Now this will work with acrylic paint if you just want to use acrylic paint instead of gouache. Making the clouds like I did with acrylic paint will not work. It will probably ruin your painting. So do not use white acrylic paint like how I used with my clouds. Make sure you're actually using gouache for that. But for like the stars, wherever you want to put your stars, definitely gouache or acrylic paint will work. I prefer gouache just because it actually just it blends in more. It just kind of picks up the color that it's on top of, and it just blends in a lot more. And if you have seen my tutorial on acrylic painting with Galaxies, then you know that I'm just gonna go all my stars are gonna go around my cloud areas. You see I'm sticking around my clouds, making it look like a typical pixie cloud. It's awesome. And there you guys go, just a little brush up, a little tutorial brush up on how to do watercolor, Galaxy watercolor, because I know that the one that I made, once again, is pretty old. And before you guys ask, my watercolor palette is, flip it over, Koi! You guys know how much I love Koi watercolor, and I'm actually going out of town for a while, and I didn't want to bring all my watercolors, but this is just fantabulous, and it's pretty much exactly like the watercolors that come in tubes and everything. So it's inexpensive watercolor compared to other watercolors out there, so I love it a lot. But yes, hope this was helpful and hope you enjoy it, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll talk to y'all later. I'm gonna finish this and post it on Instagram. Maybe you'll see the finished effect. Maybe you should follow me on Instagram to see it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today. Make sure you click that subscribe button because I do post a tutorial every Thursday, and I do post a vlog every Saturday as well, on and off again at least. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, like my Facebook page, and make sure you check out all the other videos I have. I don't want you guys to miss anything because there's a lot of doodling, crafty fun, vloggity vlogs, and all that fun stuff. Have a wonderful week. Bye!